I'm going to share with you one of the many theories that Dr. Freud, or Sigmund Freud, came up with in his time. And, well, he was not very experimentalist, I should say that right off. And this isn't sort of a parts of the brain theory. It's just a way of thinking about how we think. So I'm going to start by just compartmentalizing the mind. This is one of the compartments that he said may exist or can be represented, and it's called the id. And I'm not sure why he named it that, but the way that we can think about the id is that it's just the very basic desires, like animalistic kind of just I want food, you know, and sex and water and sleep, and it's basically just I want, you know. That's all that's really going on in this section of the brain. I think of it as sort of a caveman instinct. You know, it's probably the most important to keeping us alive. It's just, you know, I need food now, so I'm gonna eat that. And you know, it doesn't have any kind of check of how do I get food, or you know, is it acceptable to steal the other person's food. This section is just about what do I need now, what do I want. Okay. The next section I'll talk about is up here, and this is just the way I see it drawn a lot. This is the ego, and this is a little bit higher level. Ego is about, I guess, interacting with reality. It's about how to get things done that the id wants to be done. All right, reality. And so let's see, I'll use blue, I guess. Is id kind of originates the desire. Id says, my stomach's empty, I want food. And then, you know, it talks to ego, and then ego says, oh, okay, I should probably go kill a gazelle or something, or I should go to the grocery store if we're in modern times. And you know, id says, I want sleep, I'm tired, and then ego has to say, oh, well, are we safe? Is it dark out? You know, am I in my cave? Am I in my house? And so these two are always kind of interacting. The ego, you know, is making sure that things actually get done, and the id is just feeding it information of what the body wants, I guess, is the way we can think about it. And then the other section off to the side here, which I'm probably not going to be able to write on the inside, this is super ego. Okay, so you notice it has kind of the same name, ego and ego, and they are related because they both are higher level than the id, I guess. And super, you know, super usually means above or better, I guess. And so superego is about the interacting with other people, the moral standards. I'll put morality, morals. So it's you know, if id says I want that guy's sandwich, superego will step in and say no. You know, this is kind of a blocking mechanism, keeping id in check. It says no, you can't take his sandwich. That's unacceptable. Well, I guess we can say how they kind of come about. The id you're obviously born with, so that's the first one, the primary or the lowest. You know, id is very basic, and then ego sort of grows out of it. That's why I put them in this order. So there's ego, because you know, babies can have the response of just I'm hungry, so I'll cry. I need to be changed, so I'll cry. I'm sleepy, so I'll cry. But you need to develop this ego in order to actually accomplish things, I guess. And again, these aren't actual like physical things. They're, you know, you can't cut out the ego of someone's brain or anything. It's just an idea that he came up with, a way of representing how we think. That we sort of have three different characters in our head that do different things. It's just sort of an analogy. And number three here is, of course, superego. So, I don't know. I guess, ego is always sort of in the middle in the way I drew it here. Ego is always kind of settling disputes between the other two. Like I said about stealing, or about, I don't know, maybe superego would feel bad about killing your friend just so you can eat, or about pushing him out of bed or whatever, so you can have a place to sleep. So ego is a lot of times the moderator between the other two, and it's also the interface with reality. So I don't know if this is something you need to know for everyday life, but in the history of psychology, it's something kind of interesting, and it's an interesting way to think about how we operate as humans, and how the parts of our brain kind of interact. So